Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and you're welcome to another IELTS clinic. So guys, so we'll be starting the reading now. What I'll be doing essentially in this video is to talk about the reading test, let you know all you need to know about the reading test, and of course some basic tips and strategies that you'll be needing for an excellent score in the reading test. So on your actual test day, the reading test is the second you'll be writing. Like I said before, the first is the listening. So immediately after the listening, the next that you will have to do is the reading test. And that reading test, basically, it's 40 questions in 60 minutes. So you'll be given 40 questions which you need to answer in 60 minutes. That is 1 hour. Now, those 4 questions, it comes in 3 different reading texts, comprehension passages, as some people call it. So you'll be given 3 reading texts. I don't know your idea about reading. Before I started my IELTS, when I heard of listening, reading, speaking, and writing, the reading aspect, I used to think that, okay, maybe I'll stand before a panel and I'll be given a text to read out to them to prove that I can read in English. But that was not it. So the reading test is actually the part where you'll be given a reading text, a comprehension that you will read, then you answer questions. All right. Another thing you need to know is that, like I said in my first video on IELTS, you have the academic and the general training, GT, when it comes to the IELTS. Of course, before starting your IELTS, I believe you should know the one that you are aiming for. In case you are not sure which institution or organization wants IELTS from you, then maybe you should verify from them which of them that you should write, whether it's the academic or the GT. Academic, as simple as it is, here we know what it is. If you want to enter a higher institution, if it's for the purpose of studying, then you are going to need the academic. That's a general overview. Then for the GT, general training, if you are trying to move abroad just for the purpose of working or anything else, you might need the GT training. Now, there are no much difference, to be honest, between the academic and the GT. There are differences, of course. I think I've highlighted some of this in one of my previous videos. But let's look at the reading test, which is what we are looking at today. What's the difference between the academic reading and the general training reading? For the general training, you'll be given a combination of short and long texts that are general and work specific in nature. Sometimes the passages, the text will also relate to social situations, but they won't be academic in nature. That's just the difference. So the 3 passages you will receive, there will be a combination of short and long. So 1 might be short, 2 might be long, or 2 might be short and 1 might be long. Then there are things that relate to general topics, work specific issues. They are never academic in nature. On the contrary, the academic reading text, they are academic text, of course, and they are all long passages. They are long, and of course, the longer the much time it takes. So that's just the difference. The question types are the same. The only difference is the actual text that you'll be given to read. While general training, you can get long one, short one, but for the academic, the texts are all long. So moving on, I'm going to be talking about tips that you need. I said it in my first video. For IELTS, all you need is what? Tips. As far as your English is good. Let me say it again at this point. If you don't have good knowledge of English, or your English is not so good, please, you might need a tutor to help you with that. I don't teach English language here. All I'm here to do is to give you the tips. So if your English is okay and you're confident in your English, because it's an English test, and of course, grammar, vocabulary, and all those stuff, there are things that they mark when they like the markers. That's what they look into. So if you're not so good with English, you're not so good in English, please, I'll suggest, like I suggested before, go and look for a tutor who will help you, or if you can on your own, or find a video that helps people to improve their English language. That would be good. But here, all I do is to give you the tips that you need, and with these tips, I guarantee you an excellent score in your IELTS. So what are the tips? What strategies do you need for you to pass well in your IELTS reading text? Number 1, I would say, please follow your instructions strictly. Read your instructions. I said it in a video on IELTS listening. The same thing applies. Your instructions are very, very important. Sometimes people make mistakes that reduce their scores because of just this small mistakes, overlooking instruction. A typical example, a popular example or instruction that you'll be given is that your answer should be one word, or your answer should be should be 2 words, or your answer should be 1 word and a number, stuff like that. In case that is still confusing you, my last video on the IELTS listening test, where I titled this some mistakes, common mistakes that you should avoid, please go and check that video out. I might also leave it in the description box. In that video, I highlighted and explained what this means: 2 words and or a number. I explained it clearly. But one thing I want to say now, maybe for the purpose of the reading, or even it can still apply to the listening, because just to point your attention to it is, for instance, in when you are listening or when you read a text, let's assume that your answer is Monday and Tuesday. Yeah, Monday and Tuesday that your answers, right? And your instruction says that your answer should be what? 2 words or not more than 2 words. All right. So if your answer is Monday and Tuesday, you know what you will do? Just on your answer sheet, just write Monday, comma, Tuesday. That's the correct answer. If you write Monday and Tuesday, that's 3 words. You've missed that question, okay? So if you say 2 words and then your answer is Monday and Tuesday, Tuesday and Wednesday or something like that, please don't make that mistake of including and. All right, just use comma to separate them. And another thing I also want to say, please, about your instruction. Most times your instruction in the reading text will be, like, let your answer be A, B, or C. Please don't write the word as the answer. Make sure that you follow the instruction. If it says that you answer, write A, B, C, or D as your answer. Please do so. The second tip I will give is calm down. Yes, calm down. As simple as it is, it's a lot. Please don't panic so much during your test date, or don't panic generally about IELTS. For so many reasons, people are afraid of IELTS. People see IELTS as a very big exam. It's simple. Look IELTS to the face and call it what it is. It is simple and it's easy to pass. Yes, so please don't let that bother you. So during the test date, if you find out, because truth be told, there are some questions that prove difficult. There are some questions that can be complex. When you get to a question like that, all right, all you need to do, give it your best shot. 1 minute and nothing, and you are not sure, you are not sure about it, you don't know what the answer is, leave it and move on. Don't let that bother you. All right. So many times people make this mistake that they dwell on one particular question or some questions that at the end of the day they don't get to answer all the questions because their time is up. Please don't make that mistake, because it might surprise you that those last questions that you didn't get to before your time was up, they are the questions that you might know. So don't waste your time on a question. If a particular question or some questions are difficult and you don't know them, please move on. Say bye-bye to it. You will have time at the end of the day, if you still have time, to come back and recheck them. And when you are coming back, please remember, don't leave any answer blank. Maybe that's tip number 3. Don't leave any answer blank. Yes, there is no negative marking in IELTS, all right? Nobody will reduce your mark because you got a particular answer wrong. So instead of leaving it blank, just give a random guess. Just assign a letter, assign an answer to it, and then move on. And one thing that might actually help you is the fact that maybe you should try and position your mind and tell yourself that you must not get all the questions correct. You should try to get all the questions correct. You can get all the questions correct, but you must not. So with that at the back of your mind, that will not freak you out when you get to a question that you don't know. Just don't let it bother you. Move on. You might guess and your answer can be correct. So have this at the back of your mind. You must not get all the questions correct. You should get all the questions correct, and you can get all the questions correct. The next thing, guys, timing. It is very, very important in IELTS. Timing is very, very important. So a tip I will give concerning that is that you should try and use 20 minutes for each text. Okay, so you have 3 texts, right? 60 minutes. Make sure that you answer the questions in one text within 20 minutes or less. All right, if you do that, by that way it can help you. So when you find out that maybe you are in text 1 and 25 minutes have gone, what should you do? Please leave it and move on. Target 20 minutes for each of the texts. Another thing you should know is that unlike the listening test, there is no extra time that will be given to you to transfer your answers to your answer sheet. You know the listening, right? At the end, you'll be given 10 minutes to transfer all your answers to the answer sheet. No, it doesn't work like that in the reading. Reading text is strictly 1 hour. It depends on you. It's up to you how you use your 60 minutes. All right. So I'll suggest you can write as you are reading. You can write your answer straight into the answer sheet, and that's why it's advisable use pencil. Yes, use pencil and write in capital letters, write in block letters. And when you find out that maybe this answer is not correct or you want to change your mind, just erase it. And when you are erasing it, please erase it thoroughly. Make sure that your answer is clear. So if you erase an answer and put another one, make sure that the person marking your script will be sure that this is your answer and not get confused. The next thing, guys, knowledge of vocabulary is very, very important. Yes, so you need to know your synonyms, you need to know how to paraphrase. I said this many times in the videos on listening. Very, very important. Your questions will be paraphrased. You don't necessarily need to, you can't see the exact words from the text in your questions. Yes, they will be paraphrased. So that's why you need a good knowledge of paraphrasing. You need to have paraphrasing skills. You need to improve your vocabulary, know synonyms. How you do this in every day? Sometimes maybe you are reading a post and you see some words. If you are preparing for IELTS, those words, please note them. You should have a book for your vocabulary. Write those words, find their meaning, and find similar words, their synonyms, words that you can use in place of them. Find them out. That's how you prepare. Because one thing about IELTS is that vocabulary is very, very important. So your question, when you see your questions following the text, they won't go and pick a part. You know, sometimes as kids, when we're in primary school, how we know where answers are when we answer after reading a text is that when we go to the text, you see some of the words, like they will pick them directly from the text in the question, and you can always say, oh, this is where the answer is. It doesn't work like that in the IELTS. They paraphrase the questions, and sometimes they might use a different word for another word. That's talking about synonyms now. So you should try to improve your synonyms. Get a book. Yes, it's just for the time. It's a sacrifice, something you have to do. And I think it's worth it for you to have your desired score. Because I know when we are writing IELTS, there is always a score you want, right? For you to meet that, you need to work hard. However, I must say this, maybe take it as another tip. You must not know every word. Every word that you come across in your IELTS, you must not know all of them. So don't put yourself under that pressure. Don't. So if you come across a word and you be like, and I have list of 2,000 words. Yeah, this word is not there. Stuff like that. Please don't let that bother you. Don't put yourself under pressure. You must not. You should try to. You can, but you must not. All right? Always remember that. So if, for instance, when you are during your reading test, you came across a word that you don't really understand the meaning, the best thing to do, go back to the passage or wherever you saw that passage in the text, wherever you find it, try to understand it in context. Try to guess. When you read maybe the preceding sentence or the one following that particular sentence where that word is, you can get clue. You can get clues on what that word should mean, or try and understand it in context. You might not know the exact meaning, but when you read it in sentence and you see the usage, how it is used, that can actually give you a clue of what that word means. But please don't put yourself under pressure when you don't know a word, because you mustn't know everything. You should try to know, and you can, but you must not. Another important thing for some gurus, for some versatile people, for some those that know a lot about some topics, all right? One important thing that you need to know is please ignore your previous knowledge on a particular subject. For instance, I said it earlier, for the academic reading text, you will get some topics on academics that are academic related. For those doing the general training, you'll find some maybe social situations or something. Please, your prior knowledge, don't bring it in here, because some people make that mistake. So for instance, maybe you studied irrigation, or you wrote a paper or a dissertation or a project or a thesis on a particular topic. Let's use, for instance, irrigation farming or irrigation, and you know a lot about irrigation farming. You know a lot about that. That might even be what you studied in uni. The topic of the passage of the text might be what you studied in uni or what you know very well about. Please don't let that deceive you. Ignore whatever you know. Ignore your prior knowledge of that particular topic, because it will not do you well at that point. So even if you see a question that you already know the answer. Maybe it's a general stuff that the question is talking about, and you know that, oh, this should be the answer. IELTS can trick you. That should be the answer will be there. But according to the text you are given, that might not be what the text says. Alright, so please ignore your prior knowledge on the topic. Make sure you always go back to the text and let your answer be what the text that you are given says. So guys, the last thing I will say is practice, practice, practice. Very, very important. You need to practice. The more you practice, the easier it becomes. On this issue of practicing, I would like to say two things. Number one, practice with real IELTS questions. Please practice with the real ones. There are so many fake ones out there. If you go online, you see so many fake IELTS practice tests and sites and all that. But practice with the real ones. To make it easier for you, in the description box, I'll be leaving links to free and real IELTS practice sites that you can use to prepare, especially when it comes to reading. In a previous video on listening, I've already left links to IELTS listening practice sites. You can check that out. So in this video, I'm going to leave links for reading. All right. I also leave links to some textbooks that you can also buy on Amazon. They might be expensive, but they are real. And if you invest on that, it can actually help you to have the score you desire, and you won't have to go and spend another money to repeat IELTS. So the second thing I'll say about practicing is this: practice at your own pace. Yes, practice slow and steady. Just go that way. All right. What I mean by this is this. So what I mean, guys, is when you start practicing, the first few days, the first few weeks, just move at your pace. All right. Don't put yourself under pressure of maybe, okay, the reading text is 1 hour. Then this is the first time you are coming into IELTS. This is the first time you are practicing about IELTS. Then you want to put that pressure of 1 hour. You will see that you might not answer all the questions in 1 hour because you are new to this. So the first few weeks of practicing, just take your time. Practice and try to understand it. When you do that 2, 3, 4, 1 week or and thereabout, maybe about 1 to 2 weeks maximum, you will see that you understand. And please, when you are practicing, be assessing yourself. All right, know some of the question types that you are struggling with. Later, we will be looking at different question types of the IELTS reading test. We are going to look at all that. So find out the ones that are challenging. Devise strategies. Listen, come back, listen to a video on that, then you go back and input the strategies and see if it works. Assess yourself, do that for 1 or 2 weeks, and then by that time you can see that you are getting familiar with what IELTS reading test is all about. Because I've gotten some questions like, I don't know where to start. I'm seeing some things here, I don't even understand what they mean. Yes, so at that time, when you start practicing, take it one at a time. Then after 2 weeks, by the time you are familiar with that, then practice under exam condition. Under exam condition, give yourself 1 hour. Time yourself. Remember, now input 20 minutes for each, and try and do that and see how well you can go. Because at the end of the day, whether you practice under exam condition or not, you will write under exam condition. All right, you will definitely write under exam condition. So it's good. When you start, I would suggest move at your own pace. Take it slowly, gradually. You are moving, you are developing. Then after some time, you become a guru. Yes, and then you become a master. All right, then you can practice under exam condition. And please, when you are preparing for your IELTS, if you know the same way you prepare for other exam, other tests, if you have children around you, you always, maybe when they are sleeping, you take your time. Please avoid distraction, because on the exam day, like I said, you will still write it under exam condition, and you need to get used to that. I'll also try and leave a link in the description box, link to real IELTS answer sheets. Yes, answer sheet, so that you see what it's like, so that it will help you when you are practicing. You also practice with that, so that on the test day, nothing will be strange to you. These are the things I did. I got the real questions, I got the real answer sheet. I was practicing with them. So on the exam day, I saw it. I know what I was expecting. I know what it is like, and I smashed it, and you too can smash it. All right, so guys, I think with that we've come to the end of this video. I hope you liked it. Please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. If there are still questions you have about the reading test, the listening, or whichever IELTS test, feel free to let me know in the comment section. Also, please, if you've not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel, share this video, share the links with your friends, tell your friends about IELTS Clinic, and I'll be seeing you guys in my next video. Until then, stay blessed, remain intentional, and take care of yourself. Bye.